Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. It's Tuesday night here in Azeroth, and we have a great show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about boosting. Boosting, carries, RMT, whatever you want to call it. It's all basically the same type of idea. Somebody else is helping you out in WoW for various reasons. So we're going to get into all that. It's been a really big topic for the past few weeks with the 1% Mythic Plus title. Plus, it's an ongoing topic in Classic. So we're going to tackle it tonight. And it's a big one. Plus, we've got the release of the Burning Crusade Anniversary Phase 3. We've got some WoW news. We got the trading post. Whole bunch of news tonight on Azeroth United. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Before I get into the news, I will do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in World of Warcraft. So last week was our last last scheduled night in Tempest Keep and Serpent Shrine. Friday, we did a full clear, killed Vosh. And to say that I'll miss those fights is it's a lie because I will not miss those fights. In a lot of ways, I'm looking forward to Black Temple. It's a lot harder, especially some of the mechanics are a little bit more complex, a little more personal responsibility. But I think we're going to have a good time. So I'm really looking forward to that. I did get the Serpent Spine Longbow from Lady Vosh. We literally got one, and it dropped on our final kill. And I initially passed because I thought, you know what, our hunter officer, he's consistently one of our best DPS. He's really good. He knows everything about all the loot and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna pass. I'll let him get it. Congrats to him, right? So I did that, and then I get a whisper from my raid leader after they start to do loot. And he's like, "Why did you pass?" All caps. And I was like, "Oh, shoot." Then he pulled me up into the Discord channel to talk because they were doing loot council. And he's like, "Why did you pass?" And I was like, "Well, because, I figured it's just probably better for someone else." And he's like, "You're not on the loot council anymore. You don't have a say. You put need if it's on your list. You roll need on it, or you say, I need this item. It's an upgrade, whatever. And let us make the decision. You don't get to decide that." So I was like, okay. And he goes, "We're going to give it to you, and you better act surprised." So I was like, okay, yes, sir. I got yelled at. So he's probably going to be mad that I'm talking about this here. But you know what? Whatever. Is fine. That's so I got the bow. And it was pretty cool. So really looking forward to season 3, I guess it is season 3 in TBC. Not looking forward to Hyjal, and we did get kind of a little taste of the fact that we're not going to spend any more time in Hyjal than we need to, which I think is really cool because I don't want to spend any time in Hyjal at all. But we do have to. We got to go in there. There's tier pieces that we got to get and some weapons. But as soon as people get what they need from there, we're done, which is great news for me. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and looking forward to phase 3. So and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the changes that are and are not coming for phase 3. But fun stuff. In modern WoW, for Midnight season 2 is first full week of season 2. So I did the raid finder. I did my bountiful delves. Used up all my keys on delves, and I did my nightmare prey. And honestly, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be on the hunter. I was ready for, man, this is going to be so hard. Hunter, it's a lot squishier. The pets die so easily. I got to be really careful. And yeah, it is. You do have to be a little bit more careful than with the DK, but it was pretty easy. So I finished off the week. The hunter is at 293. So it's pretty cool. Death Knight, I did get a little bit of stuff going on him. He's 271, but so this week we'll see. I mean, I'm going to try and tackle some Mythic Plus, but no guarantees there because, man, people are people are having a rough time. And I was just telling my wife that all the nerds on Reddit were arguing about using your vault and whether or not you should take an item from the vault or whether or not you should just get the bonus roll. And you have all the people who are like, no, the bonus roll is BIS. And it's like, well, yes, if you're doing Mythic Raid and you're killing bosses pretty regularly, then yes, I would say, sure, use your bonus roll. But if you're someone like me, or even somebody who's just doing like normal raid for this week or the next couple of weeks, go ahead and grab some gear because it'll help. Especially if you have Myth Track in your vault, you need that. So yeah, at the end of the season, is it going to make a difference? Maybe, probably not. I can't imagine that we're going to be at a point where it's like, oh my God, I'm screwed now because I didn't take the bonus roll on the first vault of season 2. That's just, no. I'm going to go with, I'll pass on that. So, anyway, so that was cool. I really like the new delves. The arena one is really cool. I got it a few times where you have to kick the head and score a goal. That one's really fun. And it's actually one of the things I really like about it is that it's fast. And some of these delves are not fast. Some of them actually take quite a bit of time. And that one's quick. It's fun. I really like it. So, yeah, that's good. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did last week. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I mean, I really just ran through and did every single piece of content that I could on the Hunter because I'm determined that I'm gonna get in there and do some stuff this season. I also did a little bit of housing. I'm almost at a point where I'm going to start putting my house out there, but I started trying to build a nightclub room, and I realized very quickly that I do not have the decor items for that. So I'm going to have to go farm some decor items to get the correct things for my nightclub room. So, yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, that's what I got up to last week in WoW. So, good week so far. I really like season 2. The new dungeon's cool. What I saw of the raid is cool, which was the first boss, Nexali, and then the snake boss, the Twin Fangs. The snake boss is cool. We kept wiping on it because the tanks didn't know the mechanic, the tank swap mechanic, which that makes sense. It was the first week and it was Raid Finder. I wasn't expecting anyone to know what they were doing, but somebody explained it actually very patiently, which I was really surprised by. And so it was cool. I obviously I didn't finish the story because you have to clear the raid, and I didn't do that. But I'll do it this week in story mode, and I'll slog through. I can only imagine how difficult story mode Ulatek is. With people struggling with it on normal and heroic, story mode's going to be a nightmare with those companions. Oh man, it's going to be brutal. I mean, I know that Dave Gagne from Solo Q is always talking about follower raids, but I don't know that I want to run a raid with those idiots. They're all terrible. So anyway, yeah, so that's it. That's really all we've got going. Let's just go ahead and move on to the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, Blizzard has announced, sort of, the quote legends that will be at BlizzCon 2026 in is it 3 weeks, 2 weeks? So they have listed on this tweet that they put out, which it's cute because it's like a mock-up of Uther the Lightbringer's Battle.net. So we've got Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, we've got T-Pain, we've got Yoasobi, who I don't know who that is, Les Seraphim, which I guess they are the closing act for BlizzCon. We've got Deadmau5, we've got Duke Dennis, and we've got Cleo Thomas. So, I mean, I guess that's cool. I don't really go to BlizzCon for the pop culture entertainment. Like, I mean, I'm sure some people do and are excited by that, but that's just not what I'm looking for. And if that's what you want to do, cool. I did the BlizzCon concert one time, and that was Foo Fighters, because I fucking love the Foo Fighters. So I stayed for the concert, and it was really cool. But aside from that, yeah, I mean, I missed the year that Metallica performed. I would have gone to that one too. But if it's, I think Weird Al did it one year, and it was Jack Black and God, I forget the name of their band. Shoot, whatever. I don't need to go. I don't need to go to that. But Foo Fighters, yeah, that was for me. So anyway, it's cool. It's all good. And that's actually something that I remember from BlizzCon previously, is that you go the first day and you're like super psyched about everything, all the new announcements, everything that's coming out. The second day is all about which panel do I want to go to. And after you've done the panel, you're like, all right, I'm done. Time to go and, get something to eat, or, some people go to Disneyland or whatever. I'm not going to Disneyland this year, by the way, because I am leaving Monday evening, flying out, taking a red eye Monday night. So, yeah, no Disneyland for me. I thought about staying an extra day, but I'd really rather not pay for the hotel prices in California. They are expensive. So 3 nights is good enough for me. And yeah, that's it. So, all right. In other news, the Project Camelot that we've been seeing a lot about, or talking a lot about, which everybody thinks is going to be Classic Plus. That's what we're all assuming. We don't really know anything, though. It has been moved onto the vendor server in China. The vendor server is where they do all of the testing for different hardware and things like that. It's for the vendors. But I believe, and a lot of people are speculating, that that's also where they do localization. So NetEase has to get in there and change things to make sure that it's appropriate for Chinese audiences. They have certain rules and regulations that they have to follow, like the like Patchwork can't have his guts hanging out, right? It's got to be solid, stuff like that. And so they have to be able to prepare it. So the speculation is that this is their Blizzard is giving this to them so that they can go ahead and do that. I don't know. We've got a couple more weeks, and we will find out what all the fuss was. If this is really Classic Plus, if it's something completely different, maybe it's not something that anyone has predicted. We don't know. But what we do know is that there is a build. It's 1.60.1, which is not like anything. I think Classic is currently on 1.15. So, yeah, this is just out there, and it's probably Classic Plus, but we just don't know. Right. I guess we'll find out. Speaking of Classic, the Burning Crusade Anniversary Phase 3 will be going live on this Thursday, August 27th. This will include Mount Hyjal, Black Temple. It's going to include a whole bunch of other stuff, but honestly, it is the third time Burning Crusade's been released. I don't need to do a full breakdown of all the changes that are coming in. There was a tweet at the beginning of Phase 2, or right before the beginning of Phase 2, where they talked about the changes to loot and how they were in Phase 3. They changed the loot so that you get 3 tier tokens from each boss instead of 2. And so they implemented that early in Phase 2 in the Serpent Shrine and Tempest Keep raids. So we were getting 3 tier tokens. So everyone had their tier pieces like way early. People were getting backup sets and all sorts of stuff. And but in that tweet, they said other dungeon loot changes will be happening in Phase 3. And so people took that to mean new things are going to be coming. And no, what was coming was the gem changes. There's going to be epic gems that are coming from or you always get an epic gem at the end of a heroic dungeon. And so people were mad because they thought it meant they were going to be able to get DST off of a vendor and stuff like that. It's really funny. And people have taken it to extremes, obviously, but no DST, no, yeah, sorry, it's not happening. But we are getting Phase 3, so it's going to be, like I said, Mount Hyjal, Black Temple, the attunements for all the previous raids will be lifted, so you'll be able to go into Serpent Shrine, Tempest Keep without an attunement, which is pretty cool because the Tempest Keep attunement is a bitch. You'll also be able to go into Karzon without attunement, and I think that's it. Yeah, because Gruul's Lair and Mac Theridon do not have attunements. So yeah, that's what we're getting. Also, you'll be able to do a skip to the end boss of Serpent Shrine and Tempest Keep. So you can go straight to Vosh. You don't have, I guess you have to kill Hydros, but you don't need to kill a Lurker or anything else. You can go straight to the end boss. So same thing with in Tempest Keep, there's a laser gate that blocks off Kael'thas until you kill the other 3 bosses. That'll be opened up, so you can just run up in there. So so that's what's coming for the Burning Crusade Anniversary. Like I said, really psyched about Black Temple. Mount Hyjal can fuck right off, but yeah, that's what's coming down the pipe. And I think that's all the classic news. Literally no news on Classic Mop. I think it's completely dead at this point. I mean, people are still playing it, but very, very few. All right, let's talk about modern WoW and the race to world first. So they spent the race to world first guilds, or the front runners, which is Liquid, Echo, and Method. They spent 6 days doing splits. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting this raid to be so hard. I thought we might even see a 1 week full clear. And not only do we have not a 1 week full clear, we might not even get a 2 week clear. This might be a 3 week raid, depending on how much nerfing Blizzard wants to do on some of these fights. It took several days for anyone to kill Ulatech Heroic. We're not even talking about Mythic at this point, just Heroic. It took several days for that to get cleared. Normally, Heroic gets cleared on the first day or two. So yeah, and yes, the top guilds weren't really trying as hard because they were focusing on splits. So you have the lower tier, high end Hall of Fame guilds who were really pushing at things like getting a world first kill of Ulatech, and such. Also, the lair boss was insanely difficult. In fact, I think it was broken on Mythic difficulty. So she has an ability where she shoots out a wave, and it was just one-shotting everybody, and it was unavoidable. So yeah, that was what happened there. So a lot of people are really frustrated with the bugs this time around, and I get it. But I don't even know what to say to defend Blizzard at this point. Yeah, they should have done better. They should have had more testing. They should. I don't know how. What do they need to do? Obviously they've trimmed down on their QA. By trimmed down, I mean they've fired most of those people. But you have people coming into the PTR. Why aren't you having people test there? It makes no sense. And going back to the Race to the World First episode that I did last week, look, I think the idea of having these guilds go on the PTR and do these fights and having that be the Race to World First, why not? Get it fully tested on the PTR, not tested in live. It's ridiculous. But thankfully for people like me, I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I talk about it on the show, but in my game life, I never have to worry about this. I'm never going to kill a Mythic end boss unless I get boosted or carried. Just foreshadowing. Right. Let's talk about the trading post. The September 2026 trading post is now, we have the preview for that, which is a little early. I'm surprised, but, whatever. So it's pretty typical stuff. We get some cool new mounts. We got this crested leaf mimic mount, which is kind of cool. It's like a frog lizard thing. There's some cool pets that you can get. I don't know. I feel like this month's trading post is kind of lackluster. Obviously we don't have a picture of everything that we're getting on the trading post, but we have enough stuff for me to know that it's not like super exciting. We do get the colorful beach chair coming back. That's really cool. And then the shark fin hats. But aside from that, there's not a lot on there. I just, I'm looking through this, and I've just been less and less interested in the trading post. And I think that part of it might be that, Blizzard just doesn't know what to do for the trading post. So anyway, the one thing that is cool though is for BlizzCon, they are having a trading post outlets that you can go to. And it's going to have some old stuff that you might have missed previously. So I think that's really cool. That's where things like the chair and the shark hat are coming from. But, it's just a way to get you to use up your attendees, because they're not putting anything exciting out there right now. So, but that's okay. I'm sure that there are people who are salivating for these items, but it's just not for me. So trading post, it's the blog post is there, but yeah, like I said, I'm not super thrilled about it. The Traveler's Log reward this month will be the Crested Ember Leaf Mimic. It's the same type of mount as I mentioned earlier, except that it's a red one instead of a blue-green one. This is red orange. I mean, it's fine if this is your thing, but I don't like these kind of cute, ugly mounts. I don't get it. Like, I would either want it to be ugly and like ferocious looking, or just don't make it cute. Give me like, I love the what is it called? Just the mech mount that you get from, I think it's from BFA. I like that one. That one's cool. It's not trying to be anything. It's just a freaking robot, that's the sort of thing that I like. And that's what I fly around, or just a dragon, a dragon or a mount. I think my hunter uses her hippogriff most of the time. Some of these mounts are just not exciting. So, and that's okay. That's okay. But anyway, check out the trading post, and definitely check out the trading post outlet, because if you missed out on stuff previously, you'll be able to get in there and check out some of the stuff that will be live in September. So it's not until next week, but they're just giving us a preview in advance. Right. Let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. The bonus event for this week is Wrath of the Lich King Time Walking. You're going to get the Sign of the Scourge buff. Wrath of the Lich King reputation gains from combat and quests increased by 50%. You can pick up the quest Frozen Path Through Time from Archmage Aethys Sunreaver in Silvermoon to defeat 5 Time Walking raid bosses or dungeons, and you will be rewarded with a champion track raid item. You can also pick up the raid quest Disturbance Detected Ulduar from Vormu in Dalaran. That's the Wrath of the Lich King Dalaran. Don't go to Legion Dalaran. And certainly not the War Within Dalaran. Disturbance Detected Ulduar from Vormu and Dalaran. Defeat Yogg-Saron and loot the Titan Prison Fragment. Make sure you loot it. I think it auto-loots you, but just in case. And you'll be rewarded with a Hero Track Wrath of the Lich King era raid item. So they'll scale it up to modern Hero Track, and so you'll get a cool item. So that I'll definitely be doing this. The Time Walking dungeons are Azul Narub, Gundrak, Halls of Lightning, the Forge of Souls, the Nexus, and Utgard Keep. And the Time Walking raid is of course Ulduar. The Ulduar Time Walking is really fun once you get past Flame Leviathan. If you can get past Flame Leviathan, it's so cool. But it sucks because it's the first boss, and there's so much lead up to it. You got to clear all the stuff, and everybody's getting on their different vehicles, and it's a pain. I hate that fight. But once you get past it, the rest of the raid, everything falls over. It's so easy. So that one's pretty cool. And that gives you a lot of opportunity to get some champion track gear. So if you were like me and you're not fully geared up yet, it's a good way to get some pieces of gear. All right. We also have the pet battle bonus event going this week. I think it's every 7 or 8 weeks we get pet battle, and just kind of goes in as an extra thing. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You'll get the Sign of the Critter buff, battle pet experience gained. Battle pet experience gained increased by 100%. And you can pick up the quest Very Best from Archmage Aethys Sunreaver in Silvermoon to defeat 5 players through the Find battle with a level 25 team of pets level 25. and you'll be rewarded with an ultimate battle training stone to level up another pet to level 25. So I did notice, though, that you can name your pets that you put in your house. So if you go into your pet thing and you name one, and you can then put that one in your house. So I have, we had, when we lived in California, we had chickens in the backyard, and two of them were just the really kind of like the main chickens. We had a bunch, but they were like the favorites, and they were Rose and Mildred. And so I have a little black chicken that's named Rose and a little white chicken that's named Mildred. And so I put them outside of my house. So that's really cool. But I wish that they would walk around outside, but sadly not available at this time. The PvP brawl for the week is Cooking Impossible. Nomi is hosting a Panarin chili cook-off in the Valley of the Four Winds between the Alliance and the Horde. The first to bring Nomi all of the required ingredients wins. Yeah, like I said before, this one's really cool because it's so different. It's literally something different. And it's a interesting thing to go do. It's not for everyone, and it's not like super exciting. It is fun. It's PvP and it is fun, but it's the type of thing that gets old fast. Let's just say that. When you zone in, you'll get the quest Something Different to win a PvP brawl, and you will be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. And finally, we have the Northrend Cup Skywriting events. Riders of Azeroth invite Skyriders to compete in races throughout Northrend. Talk to Lord Andestraz in Valdrakken for more information. Yeah, so I'm glad they're still bringing these back. I wish they would do more of them, and I honestly wish they would come back more often because it's like time walking, right? Once you get so many, you're like, man, I really wish we could do the Eastern Kingdoms one. Well, better wait a year and a half. But anyway, so we're going to get the Northrend one. You can pick up the quest, the Northrend Cup Circuit from Lord Andestraz in Valdrakken. That requires you to complete all the Northrend Cup courses at least once. And that gives you 80 Riders of Azeroth badges that you can use to purchase the transmog and everything. But when you complete a race, you get 3 badges per difficulty of the race. So there's 12 races, 3 each. So I think it gives you a total of 188 or 198, something like that, badges that you can get for doing every single race in every single difficulty, normal, advanced, and reverse. I will not be doing advanced or reverse. I'm not very good at skywriting races, but they are fun. I'm just not good at it. So, yeah, and the 12 races, it's all over Northrend, Grizzly Hills, Ice Crown, whatever. I don't need to read out the names of the races, but it's cool. You can go do it. It starts today, August 25th, and it will run through September 7th. So go check out your skywriting event. If you already have all the transmog, then you're good. You don't need to go do it, but it is fun. I like it. I think it's a good time. And that's it. That's what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. Let's move on to our main topic of the week.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
So, one of the first things that I did when I decided to research this topic was I just went into Google and I typed in WoW boosting. Holy shit. First of all, it's not even just, hey, there's some sketchy looking websites with boosts on them. These are professional looking websites that are full on storefronts, and they sell everything. Raid clears, Mythic Plus, arena, mounts, gear, leveling, achievements, everything that you could possibly want in World of Warcraft is for sale. And we're talking for money, right? This isn't even just buying it for gold. These things are available for money. And I was just blown away. People are even financing it. I wasn't prepared for this. I wasn't. So how did we get to this point? How did this happen? Paid carries are not new to WoW. That's something that's been around since pretty much vanilla. I mean, I don't have factual evidence of here's the first boost that ever happened in WoW, but I remember it certainly in Wrath and TBC, maybe even back as far as vanilla, I feel like that was something that was talked about, people buying a spot on a raid team. So, I don't have like, oh, here's all the, factual evidence to back this up. I was there. I remember it. And, short of saying, trust me, bro, we're just going to go with it. It was there in the beginning because it just was. So let's start before that. What is boosting? Okay, so boosting has become a hot button topic in the WoW community, and I think it would be good for us to first define what exactly is boosting. Boosting is any sort of assistance from another character that essentially pulls you through content. Your level 60 friend running your level 20 character through Scarlet Monastery is boosting, right? And might be your buddy, and they might be helping you out, but it is boosting. And this has been happening since the beginning of WoW. We've had, like I said, raid carries. We had dungeon boosting. I did dungeon boosting. I remember back in vanilla, bringing I think it was my hunter to the Deadmines because my wife leveled up an alt, and it was like, all right, I'm going to run you through the Deadmines. And that was something we did a lot. It just was. Gold selling was a really big thing, and I've talked about this before, and I'm not afraid to admit I made a mistake and I bought gold. This is like in 2005, 2006. My wife wanted a glowing Brightwood staff so badly. And yes, it's not the greatest weapon. We know that now. We didn't know it then. It had 29 intellect on it. It sold for hundreds of gold, and obviously I didn't have that kind of gold. So I went and I bought gold, and then I got her staff. And so, yeah, I felt bad about buying gold, but I was like, well, it's okay. I justified it in my own mind. It's what we do. But boosting and gold selling and carries and all these things, yeah, they've been around since the beginning. Through time, it's slowly changed in different ways. Around Wrath of the Lich King, we got things like GDKP, which, if you're not familiar with GDKP is a loot system where at the end of a boss fight, everything gets auctioned off for gold. The G in GDKP stands for gold. The DKP stands for Dragon Kill Points, which is an old loot system that we used to use back in the day. I think it came from EverQuest. But basically, instead of getting just mysterious points that your raid leader assigns to you, you just bid gold. And so if you have 1,000 gold, you can bid up to 1,000 gold. It became really popular during Classic, but it started off in, I'd say, probably around like ICC era. We got Blizzard obviously combated gold selling for many years, but finally they introduced the WoW token, which, say what you will about it, but it came out in Warlords of Draenor. We got Mythic Plus boosting got really big in Legion. Obviously, that's when Mythic Plus came out, so why not take advantage? And of course, the infrastructure for these things is already existing, so just adding a new feature onto your boosting menu is not that big of a deal. With the release of Classic, obviously we got Mage boosting was a really big deal in Classic. Paladin boosting also did take off a little bit. And, boosting in Classic, it's different than boosting in Modern WoW. If you're level boosting someone in Classic, all right, it's whatever. If you're raid boosting or carrying or Mythic Plus boosting, it changes the dynamic a little bit. We'll get into that. In 2022, during Dragonflight, we got the ban for boosting communities. So this was a really big deal because Blizzard was allowing these boosting communities to advertise in-game. So you get a level 1 character, someone would create a level 1 on your server, go to the main city or wherever, and start spamming trade chat and say, oh, selling Mythic Plus, or selling, Mythic Raid or Heroic Raid for however much gold. And the problem with that is that level 1 wanted you to give them gold. And then somebody from another server would invite you to a group and take you to the raid. And that created a lot of problems because Obviously, scammers are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to say, hey, you give me the gold, then we'll invite you to the raid. Well, as soon as you give them the gold, guess what? There's no raid. So they eventually banned boosting communities, and they changed the rules so that in order to boost in a raid or whatever, the person that you talk to and give the money to is the person that has to boost you. You can't hand you off to someone else. They don't want brokers that are going through and doing this. So I think it was a good thing that they did. But again, we'll get into it. 2026, obviously, we got all of the anti-boosting changes to Burning Crusade Classic Anniversary, which a lot of people were really frustrated with because it also affected people's just normal loot. People who weren't in combat for a certain length of time during a boss fight. Like, for example, during Karazhan, there was examples of people who were sitting and drinking while the raid kept going and clearing trash. Well, if a trash epic dropped and you were drinking and didn't actually attack that mob, you were now ineligible for loot. And yeah, they reverted that change. So it's been a slow build of things happening where Blizzard has been working through this and trying to, I don't even want to say they're fighting against boosting, but it's been a pretty big deal. So we've kind of touched on the different areas that boosting covers, right? You get your raid carries, your dungeon boosts, your Mythic Plus, all of these things. What are there any well, let's go the other direction. Let's start off with why it is that people don't like boosts. First of all, people feel like boosting is cheating. And in some ways, maybe it is. Maybe paying somebody to help you with the game is cheating. I used to help my brother with Mario back in the day. He couldn't get past a certain level, so he'd pause the game, hand me the controller. I'd get past that spot in the level, and then hand the controller back to him. I was boosting my little brother in Mario, and I didn't even know it. I could have charged him. So there are a lot of things that are negatives about boosting. First of all, level boosting ruins the leveling ecosystem completely. There's so few people for dungeons, and it makes it difficult to actually get any runs going. It erodes player knowledge. If you're just getting boosted through a raid, you don't know the mechanics. If you're getting boosted through Mythic Plus, you don't know when to kick, you don't know when to do things. So you have rating, but you have no knowledge. It also affects the economy because since boosting requires gold, for the most part, people are incentivized to spend money on that gold, which brings, it causes issues with the economy. We'll touch on all of these things as we go. There are some pros to boosting. First of all, it is a service that people want, and to say that they should all stop playing the game, I feel like that's a little extreme, and it's disingenuous to say that if they're not doing the game, playing the game the way I think they should, then they shouldn't be playing the game. That's not fair. I don't think that we should boost, but I've just listed out all these different ways that I've participated in boosting throughout the years, and still do. I still run my characters through dungeons. I do. There's no way around it. Not in Modern WoW. You don't need to do that in Modern WoW, but in Classic, hell yeah, I do. Still do all the time. I ran my daughter through dungeons. She needed, I did Dead Mines in the Stockades. Now she's asking for Nomergon. It's boosts. And it does require some skill, especially at a high level. You need to be able to, like, if you're doing, say, heroic, let's say you've got 5 boosts that you're bringing with you, 5 people that are just there for the boosts. They're there for the mounts, the ahead of the curve achievements, whatever it is that they're getting out of it, the loot. The other people need to have enough skill to compensate for those other people. Or Mythic Plus, it's something that you have to be able to do this sort of thing. Level boosting in Classic is also something that requires skill, whether it's a Paladin knowing how to pull an entire wing of a dungeon, or a Mage doing those big AoE pulls. You have to know how to do it. It's not something that comes easily. Believe me, I've tried. It's like, oh, let me see. Can I do that? Nope, I cannot. That's not something I can do. when I boost myself through a dungeon, or like when I ran my daughter through, I pulled small packs because it was like, you know what, I can kill everything, but I don't want to clear the whole room, right? Like when we went into the dead mines, yeah, I'm level 60. Yeah, I've got some okay gear. I don't want to pull the entire foundry room in the dead mines because it's going to be too much. There's going to be too many mobs. I'm not going to be able to make it. So yeah, there are some things about boosting that you go, all right, yeah, fine. It's, it's not just evil, pure evil incarnate. But there is enough negative sentiment about boosting for the various reasons that I've said, that cause some problems. And like I said, what we started with, these storefronts, they're charging dollars, right? Not gold. They had prices quoted in dollars. So that really makes you think, right? When you see somebody selling a boost in game, right? Let's say mage boost, right? In classic, I go, okay, mage, Maradon, 100k XP, 5 runs, 50 gold, whatever. I don't know. I don't do. You can tell I don't do those sorts of things. Where's that gold come from? If you're doing a GDKP, where does that gold come from? Obviously, if you're doing a GDKP, you're limited by the amount of gold you have. So if you really want a piece of gear, it behooves you to get more gold. And thus, we get to gold selling. And especially in Classic, when there is no WoW token, it's a really big problem. We have bots. And for those of you not familiar with botting, and this is a problem in modern WoW too, although not quite as extreme. Botting is when you have an automated script that runs your or a WoW character, and the purpose of the script is to farm for gold. And it's really basic. Go in this direction. If something gets in your way, move and then keep going. If you're, depending on what level you are, get on your mount so you can go faster. If there's a mob, kill it using these spells. It has everything scripted out and everything's automated. And the whole idea is this can just run 24/7 and do all the boring stuff that you don't want to do. They farm the gold. That gold then goes to a gold seller, and that gold seller sells it to a WoW player for real money. And that's basic. That's at its core. That's how it works. There's really not a whole lot else to it. In modern WoW, it's a little bit different because we do have the WoW token, but some of these gold sellers are selling gold for cheaper than the WoW token. And so there are people who still refuse to give Blizzard any extra money, and so as a result, they are not going to buy the WoW token. They still want to play WoW, and they still want gold in WoW, but they'd rather give their gold or their money to a gold seller than give it to Blizzard. So it's a really big problem. In Classic also, one of the big problems is the bots do such intense farming that there is a lack of materials on the server for you to be able to craft certain things. That's one of the reasons why flasks are so expensive or potions are so expensive, because bots go and they get all of the high level stuff that you need to make these items, and it's not available to players, or it is available if you want to pay exorbitant prices on the auction house for these items. So that is one of the bigger issues. They solve this in retail by giving you the opportunity to have multiple people take a node. So for example, if you go up to a mining node right now in midnight and you start mining it, and I fly up and I can start mining it too, and then somebody else comes and they can start mining it. Now there's a timer on it. It's only gonna be there for so long. I think it's probably like 30 seconds or something, 60 seconds, and then it disappears. But multiple people can get mats from that, which is why you can't make money farming like you used to. It just doesn't work anymore. The materials are so inexpensive. Same thing with skinning and herbalism. It's so easy to get the materials now, and everybody can skin the same. This used to be we would fight over who gets to skin something. Now everybody gets to skin it. So it is a little bit different in retail, but in Classic it's really tough, and people talk about this a lot. You see posts on Reddit where people complain about, oh, look at all these level 60 mages in Stratholme, or level 60 mages and whatever. And yeah, it's a big problem. So about a year or so ago, a year and a half ago, before he switched to the dev team. Agrand, who was kind of like the main producer for WoW Classic. I think he did Season of Discovery. He communicated a lot on Twitter, and I think a lot of people call those the golden times or the golden age, back when the devs used to talk to us. He talked about this, and he put out a legendary tweet that I think a lot of people maybe took some issue with, but the reality is he's 100% correct. I'm just going to read it to you and just kind of make some comments on it. He says, I'm loath to comment. He's responding to somebody else. I'm loath to comment on this because I can never give a satisfying answer. But the reason this is like this is because we've been effective at squashing most other farms elsewhere for now. This is sort of the constant fallback for these clowns. The reality is when we squash a few different farms, a lot of time they fall back to the next best thing. In this case, it's currently stockades. We are, of course, watching stockades, and we'll ban this round, and then they will be back tomorrow on thousands of new accounts. Trust me, it's discouraging for us too. But we just have to keep plugging. The reality is, the more effective we are, the more visible these things become. We banned thousands of accounts, and you see more bots leveling in the outdoor world. We fixed an exploit in an area or dungeon, and it funnels farmers into a single or a few other dungeons. The fact that we're seeing behavior change again, and these guys moved from other spots to stockades, is a good thing. It's just hard to perceive on a player's end because it's in a city and it's so visible. Again, not satisfying. Bots, and this is, I'm highlighting this part right here. He says, bots will never, ever go away. You can only mitigate, not solve. It's all about just making it more costly for them to continue, and that's the very best we can do. This is another reminder not to buy gold and create a market for them. That's more damaging still, as it lowers their profit margins and makes it more expensive to write new bots, hacks, and maintain their farms. As I said, it's difficult to comment on this because it's never going to be enough, and it feels like lip service, but I am because I am genuinely proud of what our game security and operations server team have accomplished in this patch. It's so frustrating not to be able to share the progress and behavior trends they report to me every day, and how much of an impact it has on these farms' throughputs. So what he's saying is that the Blizzard teams actively maintain a war against the gold sellers and botters. They are going through and they are stopping them. They fix something that they're exploiting, and then they find something else. And it is, like I was talking about with the Race to World First, it's impossible for Blizzard to know every issue in the game. Players are going to get in there, and when I say players, it could be bots. They'll find the flaws and they will exploit them. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. So one of the reasons why people didn't like this is because he does put the onus back on the players. He says this is another reminder not to buy gold and create a market for them. People didn't like that because they felt like it was him passing the buck. And in some ways it was, but the reality is if we stopped buying gold, this would all go away. Because who are they going to, if they're botting and they're getting all this gold, who are they selling it to? They're selling it to no one. So now what? This is all worthless. It's a worthless endeavor, but it'll never go away because people keep buying gold, which is why they gave in and gave us the WoW token in Modern WoW. So what other ways has Blizzard been fighting back against this is one of the things that I've been really interested about. In Classic, they have been fighting back. Like I said, we have the Burning Crusade anti-boosting mechanics. They put a lot of that stuff in Classic too. They reduce the amount of XP that you would get if a higher level is running you through a dungeon, so it eliminates a lot of mage boosting. They do these big ban waves where they come through and they take out 1,000 accounts, 10,000 accounts. And they do it in waves because, exactly like Agren said in that tweet, if they do it one at a time, they'll just figure out a new way to go about it. But if they let it accumulate and hit all of these at once, it's a lot more damaging to these companies that are selling the gold. So they do big ban waves. They banned boosting communities. Like I said, that was a really big thing because there was a lot of RMT going on there. And they're banning players for buying gold. That's another really big thing that they started doing in TBC Anniversary. I mean, I'm sure they've been doing it for throughout, but we joke about it in Guild. You're like, oh, where is this person? Oh, I think he's on a 2-week vacation. And, we joke about it, but the reality is it's not that funny. It kind of sucks. And And then there was the recent example of players who got their Mythic Lura mount removed because they bought it using real money transfer. So it's important to remember, Blizzard is not banning boosting. You can boost all you want, as long as you follow the rules. Individuals can sell services. Guilds can sell services. The advertisement must be from the seller. You can't have a level 1 alt spamming in the city. And you can trade gold for services. That is all fair and all within the rules. So if I wanted to, I could go get my ahead of the curve in a few weeks once they start being able to easily clear the raid. But I could do it, and then I'd be like, oh, I got ahead of the curve this tier. Cool, I guess. So if to go back on why people hate boosting so much, and we're going to get to the Mythic Plus, trust me. To go back on why people hate boosting so much, boosting is considered just across the board by the WoW community. It's considered to be a kind of scourge, but people do it because, well, if everyone's boosting, then I have to as well. And look, I'm not saying you should boost. If you want to, and that's something that you want to do, and that's what you want to spend your gold on, I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to question it. People do it all the time. Just the same way that, I can craft something in WoW and sell it. Or I can farm something in WoW and sell it. You can sell your time as well. You can sell your expertise in running a dungeon or whatever it is. And like I said, Blizzard sells boosts. So, the WoW token, the level boost, anyone? Hello? We've got level boost in every version of the game except for Classic Era, which that one doesn't make any sense why they would have a level boost there. But yeah, so we've got the level 58 boost in TBC Anniversary. We've got the level 80 boost, or is it an 85 boost in Mists of Pandaria, and we have the level 80 boost in Midnight. Blizzard is just selling boosts. They're like, don't pay a mage, just give us $60 and we'll just give you a boost. And to be perfectly honest, I hate that more than anything. Not because I think it's terrible that they have it, but because I don't like to play a character that I don't know. I've boosted characters before and I never play them because I don't know them. I've never gotten to know this character. And so to me, it's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So, but that's me. And not everyone feels that way, and that's okay. So anyway, that brings us back to where we are today, which is the modern day WoW boosting industry. And we're not just talking classic WoW. We're talking modern WoW. There are sites out there that, I'm just going to read a few of these. And not because I'm trying to, it's just, I want people to understand what we're talking about here. You could buy a Venomous Abyss Heroic for $109. You can get Keystone Hero, Midnight Season 2, Keystone Hero, $141. Keystone Legend, $400. It's just, I don't know. To me, this is so bizarre. Venomous Hero, which is the 0.1% Mythic Plus rating, $2,850. Now, let's get into it, because this is the issue that we've been dancing around this entire time. Okay? They sell all sorts of services: raid clears, Mythic Plus rating, PvP rating, gear, mounts, achievements, leveling, whatever. But this Mythic Plus thing has created a firestorm in the community. So Blizzard introduced the new, there's the 0.1% and then there's the 1%. And the difference between them is a few hundred Mythic Plus rating. But at that high of a level, it's really hard to get rating. When you're talking about clearing 23s and 24s, it's a very difficult thing and not very many people can do it. So people started looking at this, and just to understand how this works, the 1% score is basically Blizzard takes at the end of the season they have a cutoff point and they go, okay, at this point right here, whatever the top 1% of players is on their Mythic Plus score, that's who gets it. Okay. And so you don't even know what your score needs to be until you are at the end of the season. So you can go on to Raider.io and look and compare yourself to everyone else. And people do that. But if somebody comes in at the last minute and just does a bunch of runs, then you could technically get bumped out of the percentage. And that's why this is such a big deal. And that's why boosting has become such a hot topic recently. If you buy, if you go and you clear heroic raid, you get AOTC. Cool. If somebody else buys a run of heroic raid and they get AOTC, all right, cool, whatever. You both have AOTC ahead of the curve. You both have whatever loot you got on your run. They paid for a guild to take them through. You went and did it with your guild or with a pug or whatever. Fine. If you went and farmed Invincible from the Lich King, you got it. Hey, congratulations. Somebody else went and they bought it because they went on a run and somebody just did ran their character through with a bot 1,000 times. They got Invincible. All right, that kind of stinks, but it's not like you don't have Invincible anymore, right? Same thing with gear or whatever. But this percentage reward, it is possible for somebody to bump you out. Somebody who paid for a Mythic Plus rating score to bump you out of your reward. Okay. So yeah, if they pay for it, they could technically eliminate not just you, but whole swaths of people who are at that rating or around a certain rating point. There was some Reddit posts in Taiwan, and I couldn't verify it, but where people were claiming that most of the top spots in the 1% were taken up by boosters. And these boosters were selling selling runs with people to basically get them that 1%. And you go, well, how can you be doing high level Mythic Plus? Doesn't everybody need to participate? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that's where piloted services comes in. Because what these groups are doing is not just saying, hey, we're going to run you through and get you your Mythic Plus rating. They're saying, give us your account info. We'll play your character for you and get your rating for you. So you're not even playing your own character. You're not even in there on follow. Okay, all you have to do is kick this one spell and we're going to be good. No, you're not even playing. They're playing it for you. And that's why this has become such a big issue. If I lose the 1% title because somebody else handed their account info to a professional WoW player, and then they now have that title and I don't, oh, you better believe I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be livid. And people are. And yes, of course, Reddit made a much bigger deal about it than it needed to be, but this is real. This is actually happening. This is going on. I was able to find not just these websites. There are a ton of sites out there. There's a ton of resources. If that's something that people want to do, yeah, you can do it. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is trust these people with your credit card and your account information. And if you don't trust them, then how badly do you want your Mythic Plus rating, right? I'm joking, of course, but the reality is this is a big problem. Blizzard puts these percentage, and I don't want to get into the debate on whether or not Blizzard should do percentage rewards. They do. And so, this is no different than people trying to, get their Grand Marshal or High Warlord back in Classic. You just had to PvP more than everyone else around you. And if you didn't, well, guess you didn't want it bad enough. And that's why people talk about that grind and how they'll get their High Warlord or they'll get their Grand Marshal and then they quit playing because they're like, you know what, I'm sick of this game now. Now that I got it, I don't even want to play anymore. But these percentage rewards, yeah, it is a big problem. And if Blizzard just said, hey, you need 3,800 rating and you get this new achievement, the new mount or whatever, cool. All right. This wouldn't be as big of a deal. Obviously, the fact that people are giving their account info and credit card information to these companies that may be a little sketch, yeah, that is a problem. But like I said, you go on these websites, it looks professional. It almost looks legit until you actually realize what it is that you're seeing and you go, oh, these people are charging money for services in game, which is expressly against Blizzard's terms of service. So let's pull this all together. If my friend carries me through the dead mines, all right, that's a boost. The mage AoE levels my alt for gold, all right, that's a boost. The guild sells me ahead of the curve for gold, or if I buy a WoW token so I can afford the gold to get the AOTC. Maybe I want competitive rating. Maybe I don't want to have the hassle of trying to buy a WoW token. I got to put it on the auction house. So I'm just going to go to these guilds and just buy my AOTC for money. And you know what? It would just be easier if you did it for me. That way I don't have to figure out how to do it. And yeah, you can purchase your way into this finite bracket that's highly competitive without ever even playing the game. Now we see why boosting is such a problem. WoW players have always optimized away things that they don't enjoy. We skip quests, we find faster leveling routes, we buy crafted gear that, is easier than going and farming the mats ourselves. We pay for summons. We just buy our consumes instead of crafting them. We pay people to help us all the time. That's WoW. Doesn't matter which version of WoW you're playing, classic, retail. We find ways. And Blizzard has put a lot of those ways into the game because they see that we want those conveniences, and we do. But eventually, we started paying people to do things for us. And they turned it into a business. So the question that I have to ask is, how much of World of Warcraft can you pay someone else to play before you're no longer really playing World of Warcraft? All right, that's going to be our show for this week. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I really do appreciate it. It is always a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. If you are enjoying the show and you would like to help us out, you could consider joining our Patreon. It's where people can give their IRL money to support the show and to get news, updates, and information about the podcast. So you can get there by going to patreon.com/Azeroth United. Go ahead and check that out. I do want to thank our top tier patrons. We have Stug Life, Delio, Greybeard, Raven, Azerin, and Luch. Thank you all so much. You definitely help make Azeroth United possible. The other thing you could do if you want to help us out is you could consider leaving us ratings on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Those really help out with the distribution. And if you write a review or a comment, I would read it on the air. And if you're watching this on YouTube or listening on YouTube, you can help us out by giving us a like and a comment and a subscribe. And I think that's it. So only a couple more weeks for BlizzCon. Let's see. We're going to have 2 more episodes before BlizzCon. So I think next week's probably going to be the big BlizzCon prediction episode. So stay tuned for that. You get to see how wrong I am in all of my predictions. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So as always, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And remember to be good to each other out there. It's a real person, probably, on the other side of that keyboard. It might be a bot, who knows? And you know what? Even if they did buy a boost, even if they paid for that Mythic Plus title, whatever. You don't need to be rude. You don't need to be a jerk. You don't need to talk to them, but you can just move on with your day. And that's really all it boils down to. So just try to be good to each other. That's all I can say. Just don't be a dick, please. I hate that I have to say that, but it's true. Some people need to hear that. So just be kind and smile. All right. Take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.